Hey, what's up guys? This is Mommy Sexual reporting for duty. So in today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's come to my attention that I seem to be having a lot of difficulty in responding to a lot of the comments on my videos, and I actually feel really bad about that because even though I appreciate, every person who comments on my videos, sometimes it's very, very difficult for me to respond to every comment. So what I'm going to do for this particular video is I'm going to be responding to your comments in this actual video. So you'll be able to hear my actual thoughts on how I feel regarding, the comments that were left on my 3 ways that the Madoka series failed with Hitomi or something along those lines. I actually don't remember what I called the video. In any case, I'm just gonna go through like as many comments as I can. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read every single one, but I'm just gonna go through, at least most of them and just respond, in this actual video. Before I get into this, I just want you guys to know, in this particular channel, I basically do Madoka Magica discussion type videos, but I recently made a second channel, and on the second channel, I'm going to be uploading videos to that channel that are non-discussion Madoka Magica related videos, meaning that I'm going to have things like Madoka quizzes as well as Madoka live reactions and really pretty much any type of Madoka video that you can think of. I'm also going to be uploading vlogs and sometimes, funny life stories. So if you're interested in those types of videos, be sure to check out my second channel. Have a link below. So with that being said, let's just get right into this as I read some of your comments. I really love this guy right here. He goes by the name of Iris Person. He's like, he's usually one of the very first people to comment on my videos. And I really appreciate that because I believe he's a part of my quote unquote notification squad. So I see him on, I think it's pretty much every video. This is actually another viewer who struggles to be first. I kind of like the comment that he says right here. His name is I'm Plute, and he writes, fried incubators is always good with a side of fries. And what's interesting is that if you're watching this video and you don't know what he's referring to, I have a video on my second channel where it's basically a video where I make a comparison between Cube and McDonald's. If you haven't seen it, it's on my second channel. I'll link it below. But what he's saying here is kind of a reference to that particular video, and I think he also says, and making the fried incubators a trend. Every time Cube is mentioned, fried incubators shall be a thing. Oh wow, okay. Interesting. So I guess that's now gonna be a trend. I wonder if somebody's gonna make like a meme out of it or something. That would be funny. But anyway, moving on. Let's go back up. So anyway, this person says, I think it's Gia. Anyway, probably she didn't become a magical girl because the plot needed someone to get a witch's kiss for exposition and ruin Sayaka's opportunity of having a relationship, leading to the events of Sayaka becoming a witch. But judging about the concept movie, maybe we'll get more of Hitomi, maybe. I essentially agree with this person. What's really interesting is that all the characters of Madoka Magica, they all have a very specific function as to why that they're there. So I actually can agree that, the reason that Hitomi was probably brought into the series was so she could serve as that motivation for Sayaka to pretty much go crazy and kill herself, and for us to learn about, the witch's kisses. And I think the stuff about Hitomi possibly playing a role in the next Madoka Magica movie, it's interesting because I have different feelings on that. Because on one hand, I did believe at one point that it was possible, but ever since we got the updated trailer, I think what Hitomi could potentially do is that if the Madoka series extends beyond the next movie, I do feel like Hitomi is going to potentially become like a magical girl or something. Like I have a sneaky suspicion that if the series keeps continuing, eventually she's going to become a magical girl and she's going to play a bigger role. But I don't think it's going to happen in the next movie. I kind of think the next movie is going to be more focused on, Homura, Madoka, Mami, and Sayaka. I think those are going to be kind of the 4 characters and Cube too, number 5. I think that those characters are probably going to play the biggest roles within the next movie, but that's just my take on it. Now we have a question here from Ree who says, I think the problem is having that many characters to develop and do well within the 12 episode is hard. It's hard to get people attached to 5 characters in that time, let alone 6. I also suppose that Hitomi becoming a magical girl wouldn't do anything. Sayaka had a major purpose for becoming a magical girl, but Hitomi would really be pointless, and her death would be meaningless. Plus, it comes down to how would she die, and I feel it would be pointless to have her die by a witch without any reason, but this is just my opinion. Yeah, it's a really good point. You know, there are lots of characters in the series, and you know, it's really interesting that for the most part they did a really good job in developing all the characters in the original Madoka Magica series, with the exception of Mommy. But then again, I guess it depends on how you want to look at it, because Mommy was definitely underdeveloped, but at the same time, she served a very specific purpose. And even though she's my favorite character, I'm still one of those people that thinks that her dying was essentially a good thing. Well, it was both a good and a bad thing. It was good because when I first watched the Madoka Magica series, I only watched for her, and if I'm being honest, I actually gave up on watching Madoka after the 2nd episode. My attitude was that, okay, I love Mommy, but I don't give a shit about the show. And then somebody told me that I needed to keep watching, and then that's when I got to episode 3. And it was because of the fact that Mommy was my favorite character, and the fact that she died, and the way that they did it, and why they did it, and what happened afterwards is what made me watch. So even in that sense, she served a really good purpose. But yeah, I kind of agree with this person. Had Hitomi been a part of the plot, I think it would have been somewhat difficult for her to have been developed along with everybody else, because everybody in the series essentially kind of had their own mini arcs. So essentially there probably wasn't enough room for Hitomi. I kind of do agree with that. I kind of do agree. So thank you very much, Reed, for this comment. It makes a lot of sense. Let me go ahead and like that. I actually like that comment. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Girls Can't Love Girls, Hitomi 2016 or 2011. I do not know anymore. Okay. This is from Diamond Swag Productions. What's funny about him is that he actually has a pretty cool gaming channel. If you're into gaming, definitely check him out. He's very consistent in commenting on my videos, and I very much appreciate that. He's been riding with me from the very beginning. So Clyde Donovan, I think that's how you say it. He says Hitomi has a near perfect life. She's rich, doing well in school, has a boyfriend, and overall nothing to be miserable about. That is so fucking true. Hitomi probably has like the type of lifestyle that any teenage girl would want when you think about it. Well, when you think about it, I mean, the only thing you can really say about Hitomi is that maybe she doesn't like the way that her parents are treating her, but that's always debatable, because even though she talks about doing tea ceremonies and all that other stuff in episode 1 of Madoka, she doesn't express any dissatisfaction when it comes to doing that. Like when she's telling Madoka and Sayaka about it, she doesn't bitch or complain about the fact that she has to do these things. So, you know, so it's hard to say whether she dislikes it or not. I think at the very least, I think she's neutral, because again, she doesn't express disliking it. But yeah, so but it is true, Hitomi is rich, and she seems to be doing well in school. I mean, a lot of times when kids have shitty lives and things aren't going so well, that's one of the first things that happens, is that their grades kind of go out the shithole or whatever. Yeah, and she also has a boyfriend, and overall, you know, there's nothing going on. I think the closest thing to misery that we saw with Hitomi was her confliction with how to talk to Sayaka about how she was feeling, but I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, so let's keep going up with these comments. She probably didn't have enough potential as Sayaka and Madoka did. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it looks like they're having a conversation. I'm not a big fan of this freaking username, but I'm gonna let it slide for now. I'm gonna try not to. I'm not gonna freak out during this video, but whatever. Let's see here. And this person says Tails Gamer 24 says, I actually like that name, Tails Gamer 24. Miles Tails Prowler. Well, no one likes Hitomi anyway, so nothing of value lost. I think I left a comment on this one already. I said, I thought I left it. Yeah, I was gonna say, and I was like, savage. That's pretty savage. Clearly, Tails Gamer 24 is not a Hitomi fan. Very clearly. Yeah. So, and this guy says Hitomi is pure, and this person says she's got potential and shoots in all 8 directions at least. What the fuck? I don't even know what that means, but very interesting. So moving on, okie dokie, it is time to read the next comment by Looney-chan, I believe is what their name is. The problem with Hitomi becoming a magical girl is that the whole point of her existence was to get Sayaka to feel shitty. The fact that someone who sacrificed nothing and has nothing special about her could win over her crush, jeez. You can feel the salt from this comment right here. I guess, I don't know. I mean, to go as far as to say that Hitomi's not special at all, I mean, it's weird because I feel very neutral when it comes to Hitomi. I think she looks kind of attractive. And she seems kind of smart too. There's nothing about her that I think is like extraordinary, but I wouldn't go out of my way to say that she's not special at all. But you know, I can understand why somebody might look at Hitomi and not think very much of her. I mean, the series doesn't exactly make her likable. It's like she's not a character that is created for you to like love her. It must be way more painful towards Sayaka, who made all those sacrifices than just two magical girls fighting over a guy. Plus, Hitomi doesn't seem to be nearly as close to Madoka as Sayaka seems to be. That's very true. I think there's a noticeable difference between the connection that Sayaka has with Madoka versus the connection that Hitomi has with Madoka. Though I remember a viewer in one of my videos mentioned that they thought maybe it was possible that Hitomi, in an attempt to rekindle the friendship that she has with both Sayaka and Madoka, might attempt to, like in the next movie, there's a chance that Hitomi might try to find a way to reconnect with them again, which could help Madoka get her memories back, and it could help her to help Sayaka in some way. But anyway, moving on. On top of that, Hitomi's potential probably isn't nearly as big as Madoka's is. Assuming Kyubey knows as much as Homura does, there's a chance that Kyubey knew that Sayaka would die that way in most, if not all, timelines. Going for Hitomi, who would end up with Sayaka's crush anyway, would be wasted potential, since Kyubey knows that Madoka has that power, and the loss of losing her crush to Hitomi would cause a greater amount of despair. I guess there is just no way that Hitomi somehow magically could suppress either Sayaka or Madoka. After passing the insecurity boundary, there's no room for despair in her life, especially if Sayaka just dies, you know? She has the guy to herself and therefore wouldn't be a good person for farming, since that's all she is anyway. Kyubey collects the energy created when girls become witches, and since Hitomi would never become a witch unless her crush would pick Sayaka instead, which he would, because since the beginning he has been sending Hitomi secret letters, I believe. It's not profitable for Kyubey to waste time or energy on Hitomi, especially not with Homura up his... It's not profitable for Kyubey to waste time or energy on Hitomi, especially not with Homura up his ass. That's funny. That's funny. And with each timeline giving Madoka more power, to me, it's pretty clear why he picked Madoka over Hitomi. I know she's a fan favorite for various reasons. Hitomi's a fan favorite? I've never heard that before. Is that really true? But there's a chance she might get a bigger role in the next project. Yeah, I think a lot of people are hoping that she becomes a magical girl in the next work. It would be such a slap in Sayaka's face if Hitomi became a magical girl. She's pretty much a perfect person apart from her lack of potential. She could still stir up a lot of drama if she were to be given the ability to transform or so. We'll have to wait until the next project is finished. I agree. If Hitomi were to become a magical girl, that would shake shit up so much with her and Sayaka. Like, I could just literally smell the catfight potential between those two. Like, just imagine it for a second. Like, just imagine Hitomi in one corner, Sayaka in the other, and they just have some kind of fight because of the guy, because of Kyosuke. Like, I think that'd be really cool. Anyway, so, and this person responded to the comment. I have to disagree with you on the Hitomi wouldn't become a witch thing, because in episode 11 at the beginning, when Madoka's mom and a teacher are talking, it's stated that Hitomi blames herself for Sayaka's death. So if she was a magical girl and got all wrapped up in the drama and found out all the details, I think it's fair to say she would become a witch. I mean, I think the person presents a pretty good point. I mean, the series shows that Hitomi does feel somewhat bad about how things ended up with her and Sayaka. So there's a possibility she could fall into despair. I mean, if what happened to Sayaka wouldn't be enough to push Hitomi into despair, I'm sure the shit that's going on with her Princess Kyosuke ignoring her for the sake of his violin shot, I'm sure that would be enough to push her over the edge, I would imagine. Anyway, moving on. I actually like this comment. This person made a lot of good points about Hitomi. I actually like their perspective. Miss Luni-chan, I believe. Not sure if that's a girl or a guy. I'm going to assume it's a dude, even though they have Chan in their name, but you never know. Anyway, moving on. I think Hitomi doesn't have enough karma in order to do a miracle, so Kyubey couldn't be interested in her because she would not give the quantity of energy for them to use. I imagine that Kyubey thought that it was a waste of energy and time. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense why Kyubey would feel that way. I mean, there's nothing presented in the series that says otherwise, so I could definitely agree with that. Okay, so we have my good friend here. I don't know how to say your name. I think it's DrBxx. DrBxxi. He's actually really cool. He actually writes fan fiction for those that may be unaware. If you're somebody who's ever played the Tales of games before, like Tales of Symphonia, there's a pairing within that particular game franchise that he's very passionate about, which he writes stories about, and I'm actually a really big fan of his written work. Anyway, he writes here, well, there should be 2 reasons not to do it. A, Hitomi didn't have a good witch potential. Maybe she was the most mature girl and could accept things going wrong without entering into despair. That's interesting, because Hitomi is pretty mature, so I suppose that might make sense. We can see that Hitomi is really mature. Yeah, he just said what I just said. We can see that Hitomi is really mature in because of how she confronts Sayaka about her feelings for Kyosuke. Kyubey only chooses girls with good witch potential. So in other words, he's saying that Kyubey chooses girls essentially expecting or knowing that they're going to fall apart. I guess essentially that's what he's saying. And Hitomi does come across as being pretty mature, but then again, there are some people that speculate when it came to the whole witch's kiss thing that she was kind of in a state of despair, so to speak, when it came to that whole situation. So maybe that's debatable. I'm not sure. Anyway, B, what if it was a what if it was counterproductive? What if it was counterproductive for his master plan? What if not only she was able to not become a witch because of her strong will, but also was so helpful that by her becoming a magical girl, it could prevent Madoka from becoming one? What if by her becoming a magical girl, her support would make everything turn out right? That is interesting. There's some food for thought. What if Hitomi's involvement had actually helped Madoka instead of helped Kyubey? That's very interesting. What do you guys think about that? Can you guys think of any type of scenario in which Hitomi becoming a magical girl would actually help the other girls instead of helping Kyubey? I've never thought about that. That's a very interesting perspective. I guess that Kyubey just played safe since Hitomi didn't have a good witch potential. He decided not to take extra risks. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this perspective. I find this to be interesting, what he's saying right here. Besides, no one likes the Green Power Ranger. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? The Green Power Ranger was the best. He was literally like the Green Power Ranger was literally my favorite. He was my favorite Ranger in all of, like, even now, like I've seen I've seen multiple seasons of Power Rangers, like the very beginning all the way up to Power Rangers in Space, and to this day, my favorite is still the Green Ranger. He was fucking awesome. You've obviously never met the original Green Ranger, Tommy Oliver. That's what I'm talking about. Tommy was the shit, dude. He was like my childhood hero, dude.
Go Green Ranger, go Green Ranger,
Tommy Oliver. He was so fucking awesome.
go Green Ranger.
There is a limit to what a single show can do. Madoka Magica is not Deep Space. What the fuck? Deep Space Nine. Why does this sound familiar? I remember this being some old sitcom show. I think this sounds familiar. I don't know why. There is a limit to what a single show can do. Madoka Magica is not Deep Space Nine, which had a whole bunch of episodes that could have cut. More Hitomi would mean less somebody else. Less Yuri shipping, and that's terrible. Oh my god, this person right here, I don't know how to say their name. Alas is the abnormal. I find it kind of interesting that he's responding to so many comments here. I think that's really cool. He's responding to like so many comments like in the comment section. That's really cool. I think I remember when this person subbed to me. I believe that they mentioned something about a fan fiction, some kind of Madoka fan fiction that they're writing that I expressed interest in. If you're still watching this video, don't forget to send me your story when it's done. I think we talked about that in one of my previous videos. So if you're watching this video, don't forget to send me your story when it's done. Okay. Well, a magical girl's power of both her forms is based on their karmatic destiny. So it's possible Hitomi is so insignificant in the scheme of the universe that whatever energy would have to be expended to grant her wish wouldn't be worth the energy that would be added when she becomes a witch. So in other words, she doesn't have enough karmatic destiny. She's not Hitomi's not important enough. That seems to be what a lot of people here think. Okay, Miss Kyoko Sakura. She didn't have enough potential. Her life was perfect. A lot of people seem to think that Hitomi had the perfect life. I guess they're kind of ignoring her studies and all that other stuff. But, I mean, aside from her relationship with her parents, it kind of did seem like Hitomi had a perfect life. I mean, because what the fuck did this girl have to worry about? She didn't have potential. She didn't have enough potential. Her life was perfect. She was rich and popular and did well in school. Kyubey doesn't just ask any girl. He only asks the ones with potential, because otherwise he'd be killing off every girl that walked by for no apparent reason, since they are cursed to die and become witches. This is very true. This is very true. Wouldn't it be possible that Hitomi simply didn't have magical potential? According to the rumors, Kyubey engineered the crash that killed Mommy's parents and stuck Charlotte's grief seed in the hospital in an attempt to kill off Mommy and Homura, so that if he caused these accidents just as much as they happen naturally. This is actually speculation. There's actually no proof that that what he was mentioning really happened. But this is a popular fan theory that Kyubey caused the whole accident with Mommy and her parents, as well as the whole thing with Charlotte. There's a rumor that it's fan speculation that he caused it. I mean, but yeah, so it's fan speculation. I think it could be true. I think it's an interesting way of looking at it. So moving on to the next comment. Let's see here. If I had to guess, maybe Kyubey felt that he could use Hitomi later on for other purposes in creating a magical world for the future. He already had Sayaka to learn Madoka, so he probably didn't need Sayaka. However, in the event something happened to Sayaka already that wouldn't make Madoka a magical girl, then he could always use Hitomi later on. If nothing else, situation didn't call for Kyubey to lure Hitomi in like that. If anything, if Hitomi felt guilt for Sayaka dying, or how Kyosuke might discharge her later on, then Kyubey will use Hitomi and make her a magic girl at that moment. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Hitomi could have always been like Kyubey's ace in the hole. Like maybe he had it planned that if Sayaka didn't work out, maybe he would have used Hitomi. Though, I guess if that were really true, one would think that in some of the other timelines that Homura was a part of. Because we don't see Sayaka, for example, in the first timeline where we see Homura, and I think she's not in the second one either. So one wonders why Hitomi wasn't in any of those timelines. But yeah, I think there's some truth to that. Perhaps if Sayaka had backfired in some way, maybe Hitomi would have been Kyubey's ace in the hole. I think that makes sense. So moving on. So we have Bite My Potato 757. This is actually one of my favorite viewers that I have. She's very supportive, and I really appreciate the fact that she comments on pretty much all of my videos. And as I said, very nice, very supportive, wonderful, wonderful person. This is all very true, but I feel like Madoka Magica didn't get Hitomi to become a magical girl actually made the anime 100% better. I'm a little surprised she's saying this because of the fact that I know for a fact that Hitomi is one of her favorite characters, so I'm just like, really? All the other cliche anime always gets all present involved, meaning she's saying that most magical girl animes get all girl characters involved. Like if you see a girl in a magical girl anime, most likely she's going to be made into a magical girl. But Madoka Magica is different. They didn't follow the typical footsteps of magical girl series. Hitomi stayed normal makes sense from a financial standpoint. This anime is the most unique magical girl series ever created, in my opinion, and I'm relieved that Kyubey didn't talk to her yet. Hitomi also needs a reason to become a magical girl. Her life is 100. Everybody thinks Hitomi has a perfect life. Oh my god. 100% perfect for her, and therefore won't be as desperate as other girls to make a contract. I believe he rushed getting involved with Madoka and Sayaka because of all the enormous potential enticing him to hurry up and get them to make a contract. I think he accidentally got Sayaka involved too. He was only asking Madoka for help. Sayaka just got involved by going after Madoka. All in all, I think she will become a magical girl or have a link to all magic in the concept movie or series. But for now, it's perfection that they kept Hitomi a regular hot. It's perfection that they kept Hitomi a regular hot human being. Oh my god! I just love how she. I just love how she adds the hot part here. Actually, what do you guys think? Does anybody find Hitomi to be physically attractive? Like just does anybody think she looks sexy? Anyway, yeah, I actually agree with what this person had to say. Because Hitomi didn't need to be involved, she really didn't. And had she been involved, we probably would have gotten maybe less mommy-san or something. But yeah, so moving on. Let's see here. I love how this channel contained more quality comments than other popular channels. Learned a lot about Madoka Magica in lots of perspectives. Yeah, one thing I'll say about this channel, and I'm very appreciative, is that there are so many people who have commented on my videos in the past and are still doing it now. And what I like about all the comments that I get is that you really can learn a lot about Madoka Magica just by reading what a lot of the people say on my videos. Like I mentioned this on the video that I made where I talked about Madoka becoming evil. If you watch my videos where I'm presenting a theory or a discussion, I highly advise you to read the comments below because you will learn a lot about Madoka. Like I'm very fortunate. I have some of the smartest and most analytical commenters ever. Ever in like all of YouTube, like because like it is the truth, because like you'll go on a lot of other channels that are similar to mine and you'll have people comment like really random pointless stuff, but you never really see that on my videos. Like you really don't. Like most of the comments are usually well thought out, very lengthy, and it's like food for thought, and lots of different perspectives besides just my own. So yeah, definitely read the comments of my videos. By the way, I think it's because Kyubey knew Hitomi didn't need a wish to even become one. Or at that time, even though she is secretly in love with Kyosuke, her life was fine and she did not have the potential nor need to become a magical girl. Remember that in the original timeline, where Homer first became one of them, Sayaka was not a magical girl too. According to the anime shown itself, Sayaka appeared as a magical girl. After the second timeline was finished, where Homer once knew magical girls were turned into witches, probably because, as you said, Kyubey was using Sayaka to convince Madoka to become a magical girl. Since then, as she gathered karma and becoming more and more worthy of Kyubey. Also, I don't know if it makes sense. Hitomi is more confident than Sayaka, and Sayaka was so pessimistic and shy when it comes to her true feelings for Kyosuke, which is a good way for Kyubey to obtain feel energy, as she is easily going to fall into despair. What I was thinking is maybe the way that Kyubey chose Sayaka over Hitomi is because Kyubey calculated the optimal action at that moment. In addition, I don't think Kyubey want more magic girls to be existing at that time where Madoka's karma is becoming more and more. So there is no chance they can win against Walpurgis. Ah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Another thing about Kyubei's actions is that he made it so that by the time we got to the end of the series, that Homer would be all alone and fighting Walpurgis not so that would force Madoka to make a wish. That's very true. Kyubei did calculate that. I might make a video going into more detail about that, but Kyubei did set everything up so that Homer would be fighting Walpurgis not alone. So having Hitomi there would have made things more difficult for Kyubei in terms of, because at the end of the day, he was trying to get Madoka to make a wish, and he literally set up all these circumstances so that it could happen, and he essentially made it happen to the end, except that Madoka kind of tricked him with what she actually was for. So this is a very good observation from what this person is saying, what he says about Kyubei calculating. What he says here about, I don't think Kyubei want more magical. Yeah, I actually agree with that. To be existing in a timeline, becoming more and more. So there is no chance. They can win against Walpurgis without Madoka, considering Madoka was the only girl that can release so much feel energy. So in other words, he told me it was not worth for Kyubei to sign a contract before Rebellion. I like how he says before Rebellion because things might have changed now. I wonder if Hitomi's karmatic destiny has become more since Rebellion. Anyway, moving on. In a sense, Kyubei was using Hitomi. After all, wouldn't Hitomi's confession to Kyosuke do more damage to Sayaka than anything? Oh my god, this is an amazing perspective right here. In a sense, Kyubei was using Hitomi. After all, wouldn't Hitomi's confession to Kyosuke do more damage to Sayaka than anything Kyubei himself could do? Whether it's coincidence or not, or even if she has potential, wouldn't it make sense to sacrifice one pawn to get to the king? Even if he doesn't get a magical girl in Hitomi, getting Madoka and Gretchen would be an acceptable loss. Very interesting. That's very true. Hitomi, in a sense, was already being used, even if it wasn't intentional, even if Hitomi didn't have a fucking clue that what role she was playing. But in a way, she actually did serve a purpose for Kyubei, so she wasn't needed. I like that. That's an interesting perspective. This is why you guys gotta read the comments. These are such good perspectives. Alright guys, I think I'm going to stop there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go through all the comments because there really are a lot of comments on this video. I just want to say thank you to everybody who takes the time to comment on my videos. The reason I decided to make this video in particular is that I feel kind of bad because I get comments on my videos all the time, and for one reason or another, I'm not always able to respond to them. So I just wanted to kind of take the time to respond to as many comments as I felt like I was able to do in this video. So as I said, I really appreciate you for commenting, and if I didn't get to you, I'm sorry. This is Mommy Sexual signing out. Peace out.